talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Keep this frequency clear.
And now it's conspiracy. See, they've made that something that should not be even entertained for a minute. That powerful people might get together and have a plan. Doesn't happen. You're a kook. You're a conspiracy buff.
You're watching The Truth is Viral, the only news program on the internet trusted to deliver the truth since 2008. And now, here's your host, Mr. Bobby Powell.
We're waiting on a call right now from a young lady that gave the weekly address for the Tea Party Network last week. Her name is Brooke McGowan, and she is the one that introduced me to Dr. Garrow. And there she is. Let's see what Brooke has to say. Plug this in here. And hello.
Hey, hi Bobby.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Brooke last week, on September 11th, was part of the 2 million bikers to go to D.C. Actually, it was 1.3 million. 2 million was being a bit optimistic, but doggone if they didn't get a whole bunch more than the Million Muslim March. Boy, that was a joke.
That's for sure. We expected 8,000 to 10,000 maybe, and to see the outpour was just a blessing. It was really a divine day.
It was. How far did you ride? Where did you saddle up, so to speak, before you got to Washington, D.C.?
Well, Chick stands up. Our rally point for our group was at the Harley Davidson in Fort Washington across the river. And we started there at 7:30 in the morning, handing out stickers with the fallen's names from 9/11 on it for everybody to have a name that they wrote in their honor. And there was a vendor there that was, selling breakfast, and we all kind of socialized for a while. There was some speakers, and there was some music and some presentations that all began around 8 or 9ish, and then at 11 was when we were picking up stands and heading over into the DC area.
And what route did you take? Did you go past the White House? Did you go past Capitol Hill? Did you rev your motors real loud?
We just kind of scurried all around, and because it wasn't, we didn't have the permit to be just rolling in as a major group. We all, once we got into the town, we just kind of swarmed all around. It was like a hornet's nest of bikes everywhere you looked. I mean, you just saw lined up a bike. It was amazing everywhere you looked. So it was part of the chaos, part of the blessing,
Oh, I would have given my left pinky toe to have been there. I really don't need it that badly. But now this weekend, we've got a bunch of truckers in Washington, D.C. And you almost got a chance to go to that, but circumstances prevented it. But you're closer to the situation than I am up here in Alpena. What do you know? What's going on?
Well, what I know so far, and I'm helping with the actual page, 2 Million Bikers To D.C, the Facebook page, and we're helping the truckers with a lot of news, bringing updates to that page. And what we're seeing is that there's a good amount of lineup. I can't tell you what the numbers happen to be. Of course, it's the first day today of a 3-day event, so there's high expectations for tomorrow and for Sunday. But from what I'm seeing, or hearing, at least on Facebook and on the web, is that it's completely underreported for the amount of trucks that are actually rolling around. So people can go and watch those updates at 2 Million Bikers To D.C. or Truckers Ride for the Constitution, either of those Facebook pages. We're doing our best to do what we can. We know that the mainstream media is going to hide any patriotism from the world. We know because we watched it happen when it happened to us on 9/11 that week. We grew our page extremely large, but what was really impressive was the international reach on that page And you can see all these stats on your Facebook page. But we reached 25 million around the world
Wow.
that day because everybody's hungry and is desperate to hear the truth. And I suspect the same is going on about the truckers. People who are paying attention on the internet.
Yeah. When you were writing on 9/11, they switched the traffic cams to
Yeah.
to earlier dates in the year. In one of them, there was even snow on the ground. So have you noticed or heard anything like that happening with the truckers? Are they switching traffic cams again?
I heard briefly about that earlier today. I don't know what the status ended up being for them the majority of the day. I heard somebody saying that it was happening and other people saying no, it wasn't happening. Don't put out false reports. And then I saw an update of the actual traffic land. It's called trafficland.com. That it does put up pictures, just runs the street cam all day long. So I don't know what the status actually ended up being, but there's a pretty cool little video update on my Facebook page, and I think on the bikers page too, that just shows still shots of like a whole convoy of truckers, and that they didn't really follow the rules that we kind of didn't either. I mean, with the Capitol Police telling us, this is the way we want it done, and we were complying as best as we could. But if you're a biker and you know bikers and you know motorcycle clubs and patriots and Americans, we're kind of independent-minded, and just because a few select people may know what the rules are, some of those people are going to rebel from those rules, and some of those people are just not going to even know the rules. So people did what they want on that day, and I suspect the same is going on with the truckers. They were told by authorities that they had to line up in one line, and I think throughout the day they ended up taking up 3 lanes rather than just 1 lane. And then at one point in this video, I saw a car, because cars are writing hashtag T2SDA on their on their cars, on their windows, which stands for hashtag for Twitter, truckers to shut down America, to show solidarity. So there was a car traveling with a particular convoy with that on it, and they got pulled over by the police, and the whole convoy went behind them on the line. The whole convoy of semi-trucks lined up behind this car to show support for the person being pulled over. Nobody's been ticketed yet, but they've been pulled over several times while they make their rounds. I think it's just a show of force, just to keep hey, we're watching and we're paying attention and we're keeping you in line kind of attitude.
Yeah. Speaking of shows of force, there were reports of National Guardsmen being deployed earlier. What have you heard about that? I've been broadcasting for the last couple hours and haven't heard any updates since Larry Klayman claimed.
I haven't heard anything. I don't know any hard data on that whatsoever. I don't know. I have not had any hard data come by on my screen. I did hear that it was an InfoWars report and then a Red State report, or Red State and maybe Red Flag news report, but nothing that has come through has been anything that's been solid. There's no pictures of National Guard, and second to that, even if that was something, you kind of think this through logically. President Obama doesn't have states are the National Guard executives. The governors of each state. So you got to wonder, all right, so is that really Homeland Security? Is it DHS? Because when we were leaving out of Harley Davidson on 9/11 that morning, there was a CERT team. We had a CERT team sitting right there with us. Of course, they were giving us the thumbs up. They weren't giving us a hard time, but there was a CERT team on the site, of the dealership.
Yeah, I heard a lot of stories about police officers giving bikers escorts through their towns, and so awesome. you got a lot of support from the law enforcement community.
Oh my word, yes, we had great support. In fact, we knew that they were doing what they had to do because of what they were told to do, whether they were Capitol Police or they were maybe Secret Service. We heard reports of people, getting thumbs up all throughout town. We had a situation. I was on the back of the Bishop's bike, and we were making a turn where we weren't supposed to be making a turn, but they were letting us because they were closing off lanes and stuff for us. But, at one point, Secret Service pulled over and wagged their finger in somebody's face and said, while they're wagging their finger, they shouldn't have been out Secret Service, but there's got to be a gazillion agents, so this isn't going to get anybody in trouble. But I'm wagging my finger in your face, or I'm acting like this for the camera. I want to tell you thank you for being here.
That's cool. I'm actually putting up video, the video that you sent me underneath this. It's the longer one. Can you tell me or tell my viewers what we're looking at? And the one where you say we're finally here. Where are you?
Well, we have just,
Well, we're here.
Better, I can tell you. But we've just pulled off of
We
the
made
highway
it.
coming over from Maryland. And we're on a side street, and we're taking the side street into the Capitol Mall area. Taking a left-hand turn and trying to go. I don't know if we were going to go to Constitution, where we ended up going from that point, but we just did a bunch of, circling in and out. You know how it's kind of shaped, DC is shaped, similar to, there's areas in it's kind of grid-like, but then there's also like what's kind of like a Masonic star or something. So there's all these streets going towards the center point, and we were just trying to hit every street we could. And I wanted to get as much shooting as I could. I had a horrible day technically, but it was the most inspiring day. Next to my wedding and having my children, it was the fourth best day of my life.
Well, like I said, I really wish I could have been there. And, maybe one of these days we'll be able to march right up Constitution Avenue with a great big American flag. And I'll carry that one and the Marine Corps flag. You carry it, don't tread on me. And we'll take our capital back. What do you say, sweetheart?
It seems like there's a push, a constant push, and it's great to see it. We need to keep the pressure strong. I've heard people complain that, oh no, we've got to go down there like the Egyptians did and just make a stand, stay and make a stand. Well, we're not yet in the condition that Egypt was in when Cairo took to the streets not long ago to remove Morsi. We're not yet in that condition. We're not starving. We have, we're not without housing. We're not at critical mass yet. I suspect if we ever do get to critical mass, it won't be like what Egypt experienced because of what was said from World War II by the Japanese emperor. We have, what did he do? He said that he would find a gun behind every blade of grass. We're not going to go to D.C. because we have other plans, is my point. People are smart and people are strategizing. I don't know if they're doing it within their own communities or how they're doing it within their own families, but if we ever hit critical mass, I suspect we won't be standing out there shouting Obama out because we'll be making plans to remove him in other ways.
Well, I've heard a lot of people on the internet say, bring it on. Let's get this party started. But,
I have too.
that scares the hell out of me. It really does. Because there's this movie, it's called Gray State. And it's about to come out. I've got the producer scheduled to come on the show to talk about it. And it's a hyper-realistic vision of what would happen if the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA actually, or the Russians in combination, were to actually, crack down and start taking guns and all this other stuff. It's a nightmarish scenario, and I'm here to tell you, you do not want to live in a country where you can worry about your neighbor getting dragged out of their house and getting the bullet put in the back of their head. Because that's what it's going to come down to if hostilities break out. And that's why I'm trying as hard as I can to stop that before.
Well, and that's why we have to keep doing the hard work that we're doing now and keep pressure on. I think you may have heard me say on my Tea Party News Network update, Patton said a pint or a pint of sweat saves a gallon of blood. And so if we keep the work up, we keep digging in and rolling up our sleeves and even keeping these systematic pushes on DC that may seem small, but let me tell you, they're definitely making an impact. You can tell that. Really every week, you can tell that. I'm a little disappointed. Not a little. I'm very disappointed with the situation today to see that the GOP has yet caved on certain things. after meeting with Obama, leadership has caved, and I'm disgusted. I know America's disgusted. We're disgusted with this two-party system, but we're working within the realm of what we've been given, and that's why we have a lot of Tea Party Republicans are doing what they can do in order to stop this madness, because we want a peaceful revolution. We don't want to see what we know can happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at a post from 2 Million Bikers to D.C. right now. It says approximately 400 truckers headed to D.C. saw them in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I saw one earlier. It says that there were a bunch coming up from Florida. So this is not over yet. It hasn't even begun. And on the 13th, the truckers are going to be joined by another protest. It's called the Million Veterans marching on D.C. They aren't too happy with having their memorials closed, and they're going to let Obama know about it.
Exactly. I think they're planning on going actually to every memorial on Sunday, and that's starting at 9 a.m. And on Saturday, Senator Mike Lee, I think they're having a rally at the Capitol steps, on the South Capitol steps, to clean up D.C. They're calling it Clean Up D.C. It's the Glenn Beck and Senator Mike Lee, whom we all greatly admire now, knowing how, the fortitude that Ted Cruz and Senator Mike Lee are showing gives us some hope that at least someone's listening, and we can put pressure on our own representatives and tell them, all right, look, if you're not aligning with this constitutional conservative mindset, what are you doing? And we put the pressure on a particular congressman here, Robert Bittinger, early on in August when there was the town halls going on with the congressmen when they all went on recess. And he was asked by a friend of mine at constitutionalwar.org, will you vote to defund Obamacare? It was put on the video. It was actually on Sean Hannity, and put pressure on him and made him answer the question. And he shouted no. And then later he went on to tell us that we just don't understand politics. Well, don't you know what happened? Lo and behold, Robert Bittinger did vote to defund Obamacare in the House because it was politically expedient to do so at that time. The winds had shifted from the time that the pressure was put on him in August until the pressure was finally put on in September to make the actual vote. It was more expedient to do so. So that's the kind of people we need to remove. Those are the kind of people we need to primary, or at least let them know that's what we want. That's what we're intending to do if they don't toe the line.
Yeah, I was telling my viewers earlier tonight that 60% of the country, according to a CBS Wall Street Journal poll, wants to fire every single congressman. I mean, every one. And among certain demographics, that number is high as 78%. And I can't say that I blame them. And with Republican leaders, Brooke, let me ask you a question. You're really into the Republican Party. I'm not so much, as a libertarian. But with Republican leaders like John McCain, an out traitor, helping to supply chemical weapons and other support to al-Qaeda terrorists in Syria. If these type of people are in charge of the Republican Party, John Boehner, Hannity and Mark Levin say Boehner's got to go. Okay, yeah. Do we need a clean sweep even of the Republican Party? Is there anybody that can be salvaged?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was going to say a moment ago. I would be remiss if I didn't give some kudos and some shout outs to several congressmen. Certainly my congressman, Victor Hudson, who's a freshman congressman doing all the right things for us. Mark Meadows is another wonderful North Carolina delegate to D.C. in I think the 4th district maybe. He wrote the letter and that about 80 Congress people signed on to about to defund, before the defunding that started the whole defunding back in August. So there, Trey Gowdy, what a wonderful congressman. Louis Gohmert, my word, that man is bold. Steve King out of Iowa, wonderful congressman. There are a few. James Lankford out of Oklahoma. There are several Republican congressmen that I wouldn't be able to lump everybody in together and say, oh, Republicans are just so lousy because look at John McCain. It would be like saying, okay, I can't be a Christian anymore because Jimmy Swaggart and Jim Baker gave Christianity a bad name. We can't do that. We have to just weed through the graph and decide what, who are we going to align with and who are we not going to align with. Well, I'm going to align with statesmen. I'm going to align with constitutional conservatives, unapologetic conservative constitutionalists. And if that's a person that has an R by their name, most likely it is. It's the only party that's going to support God now. It's the only party that's going to help pro-life issues. It's the only party that's seemingly smaller government and, less intrusion. But while they've made mistakes, I can't completely throw the whole thing away. What else are we going to do, Bobby, if we say, you Republicans at the top, you, John Boehner and McCain and Lindsey Graham and maybe even John Cornyn, some, you lousy, fellas, if you're going to be so awful as Republicans, I'm out. Well, what are we going to do? We're going to go be an independent and not vote in a primary and have nothing, are we going to be sitting down again and sticking are we going to sit at home like in November of 2012? How many people stayed home because they were disgusted about the option? So they didn't even vote on local issues. They may have been mad at the presidential options they had, but so they didn't even get involved with anything on the local or state level, and that's madness. That makes me angry.
Yeah.
We gotta stay involved.
Brooke, I'd like to talk to you again sometime very soon, but as it is right now, I gotta go. Thank you very much for calling The Truth is Viral. I appreciate your input, and thank you for going to that 2 Million Bikers to D.C. That was just awesome. I wish I could have gone with you.
We want to see you on your Harley then next year, or
close
by.
I gotta buy a Harley. But believe me, that's on my bucket list. Thank you, Brooke McGowan, Tea Party News Network. I will talk to you later. Have a good night.
Thanks, bye-bye.
All right, and we have all kinds of great guests here on The Truth is Viral all the time. So thank you for watching. I'm gonna shut this stream down and get it ready to upload to YouTube. And I think that since I've already been up something like 24 hours and I haven't even started yet, I think I'll put the marathon off until tomorrow. At least I can get like 8 hours of sleep before I start. I want to get at least 24 hours in under my belt covering this truck protest. So for the latest updates though, make sure that you go to the Guerrilla Media Network. Check out what Pete Santilli is doing. I'm part of that crew, and he's got hosts that are rotating for the next 3 days, and we're going to keep you up to date. And you can also go to ridefortheconstitution.org now through the 13th, and make sure that you give the Million veterans going to D.C. some love too. So thank you for watching The Truth is Viral Live. My name is Bob Powell, and until the next time, as always, God bless, Semper Fi, and hoorah.
Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral with your host, Bobby Powell. Make sure to follow The Apocalypse on Twitter at The Truth is Viral. Like The Truth is Viral on Facebook, and if you can, please remember to donate to the cause via PayPal at www.bobpowell.blogspot.com.
Smack runner, your game is through. Smack runner, I'm talking to you.